Hey traders, checking in on the stock market today. So the S&P 500 tested all-time highs, came real close, but was unable to punch through today. Bitcoin bulls hit the all-time highs, so certainly some euphoria out there in markets. Continuing to watch very closely for IWM to attempt an all-time high and the growth names that are associated with that correlation. And I'll go over the Cannabis trade review follow-through from yesterday. So starting it off with the S&P 500 futures, we set a 4-hour higher low heading into the day in a bull flag. The bull flag confirmed. We did see a little bit of a pullback today, but one thing that I'm always looking for when I'm gauging strength, and you can see on SPY, the 5-minute RSI dropped down to oversold. We held the low of the day with a double bottom by 1 penny, and that marked the low of the day. So what I'm looking for is, are bulls aggressively buying dips? And one thing in the cryptocurrency space this entire past couple of weeks leading up into the all-time high that stood out is every 5-minute oversold bounce, 15-minute hourly oversold bounce, they all saw significant follow through and they marked temporary bottoms when they were hit. So if we had seen 5-minute oversold, bounced, set the lower high, and then broken the low of the day, it would have stood out. And I would have said, okay, we are not seeing significant strength on that dip buy, but it marked the low. So it was notable. The all-time high on SPY with dividend adjustment is 454.05. Still haven't broken it. And again, if we want to ignore dividends and not have to think about it, we just go to the S&P 500 futures chart, and that is still resistance. Worst case for the bulls, if we reject, we look for a daily higher low to form, and there's plenty of space for that. So there's no major red flags. Bulls would obviously like to get it out of the way and clear that hurdle and not have double top narrative, but we will be scouting daily higher lows and hourly oversold bounces the next time we consolidate on a ton of individual names and sectors. The Nasdaq 4-hour bull flag attempt, we confirmed it and broke support. So the Nasdaq is showing us a little bit more weakness. It looks a little bit more ready for daily consolidation. And throughout the morning, I started this morning by saying on the live stream, I'm only comfortable going bearish today. As far as initiating new positions, I'm looking for daily consolidation and I'm not comfortable going long, which means I'm going to make a couple attempts, 1 or 2 attempts going bearish. And if the bulls keep control all day, I just won't trade much. And so I did choose QQQ because QQQ clearly showed us it was a weaker sector. XLF was grinding to all-time highs. XLV was up the most percentage-wise of our big 3 sectors, and QQQ was the weakest. I almost got stopped out. I was on the verge of getting stopped out because we saw weakness, and then on this bounce, I was looking to make my entry, and I entered SQQQ right about here, and my stop was going to go over the high of the day with some wiggle room. And I gave a good bit of wiggle room, reason being, how many times recently in the past couple months have we seen a QQQ V-shaped bounce to a new high of the day? We don't confirm a 5-minute trend change, and we give that move back. This is becoming a pattern that's more and more common. So I've seen it enough times to know I'm not going to stop out at the high here. We haven't confirmed a 5-minute trend change. And if we consolidate and then confirm a 5-minute trend change into a new high of the day, absolutely, I'll stop out. So held that position and should have covered some into the 5-minute oversold flush, but I gave it a chance to play out for a potential swing. And then seeing the size of this bounce into the end of the day, I exited that position and we'll just start with a fresh, clean slate tomorrow, not going to swing it. So on the hourly, we would have to lose the low of today tomorrow for an hourly downtrend to be confirmed, and then we would look for daily consolidation to be underway. And again, that's when we scout a daily higher low and we scout hourly oversold conditions for that daily higher low to potentially be forming. Financial sector closed at the high and the all-time high yesterday, did it again today, significant follow through, and our lead bull sector since our low. And again, tons of space for a daily higher low, and it's on hourly back burner watch for first oversold conditions coming off of all-time highs. XLV is our laggard sector, and it's following through. Increased bull volume is a good sign. I believe I pointed out the low volume yesterday, and we're following through with the daily trend change. So the weekly bear flag is negating because of the amount of bounce we've seen. Let's get our retracement, probably right around 40% at this point. Nope, hit the 50 mark. So right at 50, still looking for a weekly lower high to be the result of this bounce, but again, negating, or I should say significantly decreasing probabilities of a weekly bear flag. After 130.80 resistance is 131.76. And we'll look for a daily high or low, anything above 126.55 the next time we consolidate. So again, it's that rotation. XLF leading the way and still strong. Tech sector had their run a few days ago, and now it's XLV taking its run the last 2 days. And again, we have tech sector earnings next week, which are going to be notable. IWM. Keep saying it. I'm going to keep saying it again. Keep an eye on IWM. It is getting primed and ready for a break. We favor the bulls because of the broader market strength, but the bulls still have proving to do. 228.41, 229.84, 233.64, 234.53. There's 4 clear resistances, but they're all within a few percent of each other, about 3%. So looking at it on the daily, higher low is set at 223.73, and the bulls to end this week really want to clear 2 of these hurdles. Close above 229.84, and again, we will be knocking on the door of a breakout to all-time highs, which is beneficial for anything growth related and all those names that we keep an eye on, looking for monthly higher lows, or even the cannabis space that is trying to be the laggard of the laggards, seeing a bounce, and they're still struggling, but they're trying. The dollar is still weak, daily inside bar today, but we're now in a daily downtrend. Again, we're watching our uptrending support line, and the bulls want to maintain that for a weekly higher low. And we're watching our uptrending resistance line. It's a really nice channel, and we're heading down towards that support, it looks like. So we're watching for a weekly higher low over the next couple of weeks. Nice recovery by gold. Big upper wick yesterday was a bit of a red flag, but eliminating that red flag today, keeping the daily uptrend going. Bulls need to maintain 1760.37, and they want to break 1865 to keep the daily uptrend going. Last thing the bulls want to see is a lower high and lower low, because that would confirm a weekly lower high is shaping up in our tightening equilibrium. So those daily higher lows are real important for the bulls to maintain. Silver, bull break continues. Weekly 24.87 resistance is approaching, and bulls look good. Anything above 23.01 is a daily higher low. The miners confirm the daily bull flag after the double top yesterday. 33.52 is its weekly resistance. And GDX generally would trade more correlated to gold, but that has shifted, and it's now trading more correlated to silver recently. And that's fairly new. And I don't have in my head how long it's been, but just know through observation that there was a good period of time where GDX was tracking gold a lot more than silver. I do believe bulls will be looking to buy the next weekly consolidation on both silver and these miners. Oil still extremely strong, bullish inventory report reaction, and back to the highs. New daily higher low, we can call it at 80.78. And again, bulls are in complete control. And if we're looking at our continuous contract to find where our next resistance levels are, keeping in mind it was 77 triggering that opened things up with a lack of resistance. Next level is up at 85.87. Higher low every week pattern over the last month plus. Still very strong. Energy sector keeping that strength as well. I've been keeping an eye out for a short in the energy sector, but it's just not giving it to us. And not even really giving a setup to make an attempt at this point, which is nice. It's not like it's faking us out. And XLE, little daily higher low at 57.05 and a strong close. Certainly benefiting from the financial sector blue sky run the past couple of days. Natural gas trying to get a daily bounce going. We did confirm a 4-hour trend change. So we zoom out. We scout a daily lower high, anything under 593. And the bulls are hoping for a big enough bounce to create the space for an eventual daily trend change for a weekly higher low off of EMA 12. So trade review on the cannabis play. Yesterday I swung CGC and TLRY looking for a gap up open. We had a couple attempts from the bulls to gap up after hours. We got up to 11.95 pre-market. We got up to 12.17. We looked good there, but we didn't get the gap up open. And I exited all my positions pre-market because I knew I was either going to exit at the open on a gap up open, but as soon as 7 a.m. rolled around and brokers opened up, there was a lot of selling pressure. And I was part of that selling pressure after recognizing this is not what I'm looking for. We're not likely to gap up. So I exited right around where we closed on both TLRY and CGC, not wanting to get back the gains from yesterday's bounce. And then the next setup that I was looking for was playing 5-minute oversold conditions, looking for an hourly higher low. And so this morning I was looking at CGC and trading that for a 5-minute oversold bounce. And it went, It went okay, but I didn't keep conviction, which is where I went wrong. So my initial entry, I forget exactly what the levels were here. I made an initial entry on this 2-minute, on the break of 14 psychological. So 5-minute RSI was in the low 20s and we broke 14 psychological and I entered and I got filled at 13.99. And so I was very comfortable with that entry. It was just the first scale in. I would have entered a second scale in at 13.80 if we kept dropping, but we didn't. We started a bounce. I thought that looks like a 2-minute bear flag. That's not the bounce that I'm looking for. And I exited break even. And then after exiting break even, we dropped to a lower low and I re-entered, this time at 13.80. Saw inverse head and shoulders attempt on the 2-minute time frame that failed. Let me draw it a little better. Here's your higher low, fail to break resistance and break the low of the day. At that point in time, cryptocurrency is breaking out to all-time highs. I'm scatterbrained and focusing on crypto a little bit and the miners, the crypto miners. And so at that point, I just stopped out. I exited half on a move up to 14. My break even was 13.60 and I stopped out when we broke the low of the day with some wiggle room. Hindsight, if I just stuck my stop at break even 13.60, I would have been in and had a position for the bounce that did eventually play out. So on the morning, I ended up with a tiny win, insignificant, and then we got our hourly higher low being set, and the bulls did shift momentum. And it was also a factor that I was looking for the broader market to consolidate. So I didn't like the positioning of the MJ sector looking for an oversold bounce as I'm watching the broader market for potential consolidation to start. But in the end, we ended up with an equilibrium, and I did trade it a few more times. A little bit of over trading for me today on the sector. Didn't result in losses, but just could have been a little bit more patient and been focusing more on the hourly time frame instead of the 5-minute time frame. Because again, we did get a solid bounce from those lows of 5%. And then we had an hourly equilibrium. And I did play this bull move once the bulls got some momentum going, exited quickly because saw the bearish setup. I watch IWM when I'm watching this sector, and IWM gave us a 5-minute bear flag. And so I was watching the setup and saying, the MJ sector is close to giving us hourly lower highs. And if this IWM rising wedge breaks bear, hourly lower highs are going to set in Canadian MJ. So I exited all my positions again. Again, tiny wins, insignificant, break even. And the one trade that I did have that worked well was ACB. But heading into tomorrow, we have hourly equilibriums. I'm looking at the high of pre-market on CGC, the low of the drop today, lower high, and into the end of the day, we try to higher low. So tomorrow, we're going to get a break of these equilibriums. And that's going to be a trade opportunity for either bulls or bears. If it's a bear break and the broader market is consolidating, there may be some decent follow through there. And of course, if it's a bull break, we'll be getting some follow through, which we have certainly been lacking in the sector for a long time. TLRY is the same hourly equilibrium, tightening range, going to break tomorrow. And ACB stood out, and why I chose ACB with the little help of some TheChartGuys members, but it broke. So again, my mindset when I'm looking at a downtrend, I look at this and say, okay, getting over 774 means anybody that's short ACB from the last 3.5 months is underwater. And you look at the other names, and we're nowhere near our highs of those time frames. TLRY with the big move yesterday is only putting shorts from the last couple weeks underwater, and CGC same thing. So it's not even comparable to 3.5 month highs. And it's a confirmed weekly trend change. So it's just a much more developed shift in momentum on ACB. And it stood out today well over the high of yesterday. Again, while TLRY and CGC couldn't get any follow through over the high of yesterday or couldn't even break it. So I did enter ACB. And the winning trade here was entered it at 761 or 62 right into the new high of the day. And you can see the volume picked up in a big way and we got multiple percent of follow through. So that ended up being a win. And I did end up swinging. I sold it here as the IWM bear break was taking place, and then I re-entered into the end of the day for a swing position to see if the bulls were able to maintain the hourly uptrend. I will exit if 751 support breaks and we lose the hourly uptrend. But if the equilibriums break bull from CGC and TLRY on the hourly, ACB is positioned well to continue this hourly uptrend and breakout. The next resistance for ACB after 780, we're looking up at 8 psychological and then 841. So a lot of space. And I like the volume increasing too. So still keeping an eye on the sector. USMJ, a little bit of a laggard move, trying to catch up. It wasn't red while some Canadian MJ was, but again, my attention is still on where the volume is, Canadian MJ. Other than that, still volatility in our miners. Coin bulls got a nice breakout and follow through. They're too extended for me to be comfortable at this point looking long. It's just a question of how long can the Bitcoin euphoria keep up to keep coin running like this. But aggressive bears are going to be keeping an eye out for a short in the near term. So that's been my focus for the week. Crypto names and MJ names. And we'll see how that focus shifts into next week. But it's been a good week overall. And from here, I'm going to be patient for the rest of the week. Still keeping an eye out for daily consolidation in the broader market. Not constantly fighting the bulls, not constantly taking loss after loss after loss. Trying to position myself in risk-free scenarios to have a position if we do see daily consolidation. And otherwise, expecting that we're going to see all-time highs in the S&P 500, whether it's tomorrow or whether we have to see daily consolidation first, I'm not sure. But I do believe that the bulls will be looking to buy daily consolidation next time we get it. I hope you're well. I hope you had a good day. Don't forget to do good things out there. And we will see you tomorrow.
Low, high, higher, low, lower, high, higher, low, 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 low, high, higher, low, lower, high, higher, low.
I'm ready to trade. Just need some higher lows and lower highs. Keep getting rejected by these middle Bollinger Bands. Come on, you fat bulls, you piece of mother goat loving fat. Here we go. All-time high test. Get it, bulls? Get it, bulls?